Will there be anything or not? What is known about Trump's possible arrest? With a strong security scheme, New York receives today the former President Donald Trump for a historic hearing. The first former president to be indicted in a criminal case, he will surrender and wait detained to formally hear the accusation of having given $130,000 to porn star Stormy Daniels to hide an extramarital affair with the Republican. What should happen? Trump will appear at the Manhattan District Attorney's office and be taken to the New York Criminal Court to hear the indictment, still kept under wraps. There, he will have his fingerprints taken upon arrival. It is not known whether Trump will have a booking photo, and it cannot be released to the press, according to New York laws. According to the U.S. press, there is an agreement that Trump will not be handcuffed. Expectations that Trump will be jailed are low, according to the New York Times. The pressures against the Republican are nonviolent in nature, which should ensure that he leaves the site free, without having to pay bail. Trump's arrival should be met with accepted protesters against the former president, who have called on them to pressure the American justice system. How did the indictment come about? In 2018, the New York court opened an investigation into a clear payment of $130,000, about 666,000 Brazilian reals, to porn star Stormy Daniels, just before the 2016 presidential election, to hide an extramarital affair with Trump. The amount had not been declared in the Republican candidate's campaign accounts, violating election laws, and was recorded as legal fees in the books of his New York-based company. In January of this year, Manhattan's Democratic prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, handed the case over to a grand jury. In mid-March, the grand jury presented Trump to testify, an indication that it was almost concluding its work. The former president refused and called on his supporters to demonstrate against a future imprisonment. On Thursday, 30, the grand jury met with the presence of 3 prosecutors in charge of the case, according to the New York Times. After 3 hours of closed-door deliberation, the jury favored an indictment, whose details are not yet public. What happens now? Trump agreed to go to New York and hear the accusation this Tuesday. If he refused to appear, he could be arrested and later extradited from Florida, where he resides, to New York, since each state has its own judicial system. He will be photographed, his fingerprints will be recorded, and Trump will be presented to a judge who will ask him how he intends to defend himself, explains Carl Tobias, a law professor at the University of Richmond, Virginia. It is considered certain that Trump will plead not guilty. And then? The former president's lawyers must wage a legal battle to try to invalidate the accusation, perhaps arguing that the investigation was incriminatory or a formal problem. If this does not happen, the normal course of justice expects 3 scenarios. That the charges are dropped, something relatively frequent and that can occur with the arrival of a new prosecutor. However, it is forced to occur in Trump's case due to its impact. That the defendant reaches an agreement with the prosecutors and agrees to plead guilty. This would serve to avoid going to trial and thus obtaining a lighter sentence, which is even less likely, as Trump vehemently repeats that he did nothing wrong. That he goes to trial. This would lead to several procedures and preliminary hearings. Again, Trump's lawyers will likely use all possible strategies to delay the terms. Does this prevent him from running for a second term? No. In short, I apologize for that. Here's the continuation of the article in English. Will he be convicted? It's too early to tell whether Trump will be convicted of the charges against him. If the case goes to trial, it will be up to a jury to decide whether Trump is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. However, even if Trump is convicted, it's unclear what the punishment would be. The charge he's facing carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, but it's possible he could receive a lighter sentence or even avoid prison altogether. What are the political implications? The potential conviction of a former president on criminal charges is an unprecedented event in U.S. history, and it would undoubtedly have significant political implications. Some experts believe that a conviction could damage Trump's political prospects, making it more difficult for him to mount a successful presidential campaign in 2024 or maintain his hold on the Republican Party. Others, however, argue that a conviction could actually strengthen Trump's position by bolstering his image as a victim of a biased legal system. Regardless of the outcome, the case against Trump is likely to have a lasting impact on U.S. politics and the country's perception of its legal system. Conclusion. The possible arrest of former President Donald Trump is a historic event with significant implications for U.S. politics and the country's legal system. While it remains to be seen whether Trump will be convicted of the charges against him, the case against him is a testament to the idea that no one is above the law.